Hi, and welcome. We've had some requests for some exercises to help with back pain. So I wanted to demonstrate a few exercises that can help, and we'll go ahead and get started. So all you really need is a mat or a floor or a towel. Any of those will work just fine. You want to make sure that your knees can be comfortable and your seat can be comfortable, but otherwise no equipment is necessary. So I'm going to start on my mat over here. And we'll start on all fours. So in working on the back, many times folks think that stretching alone will help back pain. When in essence, if you work with a physical therapist, for example, some of the back pain is related to weakness, whether it be in the back or in the core. So we'll go through a few exercises for both areas to help stabilize the spine. And then, on a separate video, I can show some stretching exercises to basically complement what we're doing today. So we'll start on all fours. And so come to a comfortable space where you can bring your feet and your arms basically hip width apart. So your hands should be under the shoulders, knees should be under the hips. And just find that space of a neutral spine. So we're not tucking the spine under, we're not lifting the hips up and arching the spine, but just finding that space between. So maybe you even find a little movement in both extension and flexion just to find that space between. And then we'll start here by taking the right leg back behind us and finding our balance here. So let your toes point down so that the hips can line up. And then engaging your core, we'll start to take the opposite arm forward. Thumb is facing up, core is engaged, and let your shoulder come down into the socket. And when I say down, I mean back towards the hips. And then take an inhale here, lengthening in both directions. And as you exhale, start to bring the knee towards the elbow, using the core to engage there. Inhale, lengthening back out through the spine, strengthening the spine. Exhale, knee to elbow. 3 more times. Inhale to lengthen. Exhale to curl in. 2 more, lengthening, breath in. Exhale. 1 more time. Inhale to lengthen. Exhale, curling in. Come back to all fours just for a moment and just wiggle the hips side to side. So taking the weight off of the wrists and just take the hips side to side. Getting weight off of that right knee that we were just on. And then we'll come back to center, moving to the opposite side. So we'll take the left leg back behind us, toe pointing down, stabilizing the hips. And then inhale, take the right arm forward, lengthening out. And as you exhale, knee to elbow. Inhale to lengthen. And you can move through this 4 more times at your own pace. So we're working on lengthening and lifting through the back of our body to help strengthen our entire back. We spend a lot of time sitting, standing, maybe not working on the strength of the back. And so coming into a position like this where the belly is facing down, we work on the strength, just holding ourselves in space. Excellent. And then coming back to all fours. Again, a gentle shift of the hips side to side. You can move through that 3 more times at your own pace on each side. You can go up to 10 or 12 repetitions on each side, either in the same set or in different sets, your choice. So that's an excellent way, called spinal balance in yoga. Excellent way to strengthen the back. Now from here, we're going to come onto our backs. And we'll work a little bit more on the core. So you can come down to that space on your back however you would like. You can hold behind the hamstrings to lower yourself down slowly, and then coming onto the back. So from here, we'll start by just finding ourselves in space. So the feet are just resting below the hips, and the feet are hip width apart. And then start to notice where your back is on the mat. We're going to want to find a space between the back. So if you can, bring your hands just underneath the low back and see if there's a little space there. And then I invite you to start to make that space disappear by pressing with the core into your hands. So pressing with the abdomen, the core muscles to lengthen the back. Then inhale, come back to that neutral spine where there's space between the fingers, the floor, and the low back. And then exhale, pressing towards the hands. Inhale, neutral spine, find the space. Exhale, pressing into the mat. And so that movement of pressing is not happening from the back. It's actually happening from the core, the ribs hugging the core, flattening the back from the front of the body. So this is another exercise you can move through as many times as you feel that you have the energy for, using the breath to flatten the back with the ribs hugging in and the core hugging in, and then exhaling to release. And then coming back to a neutral spine, you can take the hands out from behind the back. And then we're going to take one leg forward while we press into the back. So now, if you want the hands behind the back, I will just say if you'd like to leave them there, you can. If you don't feel that you need them, the hands can rest by the sides. And so we're going to see if we can keep that core engaged in a gentle way with still being able to breathe. And then as you inhale, we're going to slide the right foot forward, keeping the back engaged. So the heel is still on the mat, but you can flex the foot. And then exhale to draw the foot back. Inhale, draw the left heel forward. Exhale, draw the left foot back. So this is a very gentle movement with each side going one leg at a time with the breath. But engaging the core this whole time really helps to strengthen. And you can feel it in the lower core as well, especially when that leg starts to pull back. So I have socks on to be able to move on this mat smoothly. So that can be helpful. If you happen to be on a wood floor, you might need to have socks. Or if you're on a mat, you may need them as well. And so moving through that, again, as many times as you feel like you have the energy for, the endurance for, it could be just 5 times to each leg, and then building up to 10, maybe up to 15. And then release through the back and the core, finding a neutral spine, finding that space between the spine again. And then rolling over to one side and coming back to a seated space. So I hope that was helpful in order to work on strengthening the core, strengthening the low back. Just a quick video with some tips for you. And thank you so much for joining me.